Boston Celtics guard Derrick White has become known for his clutch plays and relentless effort on the court, but behind the scenes, he faced one of the most emotional crossroads any athlete can encounter, choosing between the birth of his first child and the NBA playoffs. The story takes us back to the 2021-22 season. At the start of the year, White was still a member of the San Antonio Spurs. His wife, Hannah Schneider, was expecting their son, Hendrick, with a due date set for May 22, 2022. At that time, life seemed manageable. The Spurs were heading toward missing the playoffs, which meant White wouldn't have any conflicts with being present for one of the most important days of his life, the birth of his son. But basketball, like life, can change in an instant. On February 10, 2022, White was traded to the Boston Celtics, a team with a championship mindset. That one move flipped his entire life upside down. No longer on a team with an early offseason, he was suddenly thrown into the middle of a title chase. White recalled on the White Noise podcast just how quickly things shifted. "We got our room and everything in San Antonio," White explained. "We get traded to Boston. Now everything changes. We find a different doctor there." The Celtics were surging in the East and made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, setting up a clash with the Miami Heat in May. The timing seemed to line up in White's favor. Boston was scheduled to play in Miami on May 17 and May 19, just before Hannah's due date on May 20. To Derrick, it felt like fate. "That's perfect," he thought. "It's just going to happen on the due date." But, as so often happens in life, things didn't go as planned. On the morning of May 19, while Derrick was asleep in Miami, his phone lit up with calls and texts from Hannah. Something wasn't right. She was heading to the hospital early. When White finally woke up around 7 a.m., he realized the urgency of the situation. His wife was going into labor one day before her due date. Panic immediately set in. White quickly asked Hannah if she wanted him to fly back. She encouraged him to wait until doctors had more information, but within moments, it became clear this was happening. Derrick called Celtics president Brad Stevens and said, "I need to go. Hannah is in labor." Stevens didn't hesitate, giving White the green light to leave immediately. The clock was ticking. White rushed to find a flight out of Miami, but the first available plane was set to leave in just 45 minutes. "We tried to book it, but you can't book a ticket under an hour," White recalled. Desperation set in as he pleaded with airline staff at Miami International Airport, "Please let me go. My wife is in labor." But there was nothing they could do. Plan B sent him north to Fort Lauderdale, where he finally secured a seat on a flight to Boston. Relief set in, until another message came through midair. Hannah's mother texted him, "I think she's going to start pushing now." White could only sit helplessly, thousands of feet in the air, as his son entered the world. At 12:11 p.m., Hendrick White was born in Boston. Just 49 minutes later, Derrick's plane touched down. He had missed the moment but made it just in time to hold his newborn son and be with his wife. That same night, the Celtics played Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals without him. Boston delivered a dominant win over Miami, 127-102, tying the series at 1-1. White rejoined the team for Game 3 and helped the Celtics push all the way to the 2022 NBA Finals. The story perfectly captures the reality that professional athletes are not just stars on TV. They are husbands, fathers, and human beings navigating the same emotional battles as everyone else. White's dilemma highlighted the sacrifices players often have to make when the demands of their careers collide with the responsibilities of family. Looking back, White doesn't regret leaving the team, even if it meant missing part of the playoffs. For him, being there for Hannah and Hendrick, even if it was just moments after the birth, mattered more than anything else. And Celtics fans embraced him even more for showing that kind of commitment both to his family and later to the team's playoff run. In sports, legends are often defined by championships and trophies. But stories like Derrick White's remind us that the most meaningful victories sometimes happen far away from the spotlight, inside a delivery room, with a newborn child, and the promise of a future that's bigger than basketball.